Welcome to the Get Your Mind Right podcast. Every day, I want to be the first voice inside of your head, the first voice that motivates you to move. I put out these powerful segments every single day because I know the truth. The truth is that when you change your mind, you change your life. So let me, Ryan Stewman, the hardcore closer, get your mind right. Stop lying for other people right now. Whatever lie you're telling to protect other motherfuckers, stop lying for other people. You see, every day we want to protect people. We want to keep them safe. We don't want them mad at us. We want to stay in our comfort zone. And so we tell lies to support their lies. I know I did it all my life. Everybody would ask me, how's your home life, Ryan? They knew I was abused. They knew I showed up to school with black eyes that other kids didn't give me. They knew that shit wasn't right with me. They knew shit wasn't right in my head. And I would always say, oh, my parents love me. Everything's awesome at home. You know, the same thing when I had relationships with my ex-wives that I'm divorced from, people would say, how's your wife doing? And I'd say, great, when really they were all three sick. And I don't say that to discredit them. I say that because the three of them had sick patterns that I fell into and was addicted to as a human being. And I told lies for them. Whereas if I would have just told the truth, somebody might have saved me. If I'd have just told the truth, somebody might have saved me from my family. If I'd have just told the truth, somebody might have bailed me out of those marriages before they became as painful as they were. You see, we lie for other people, and which makes us lie to ourselves, and we internalize that stuff, and it starts the self-degradation, this depreciation of our self-worth, and it kills us and eats us inside and causes us to do shit to ourselves and causes us to believe that we don't deserve the things that we deserve. And it kills us, it rots us until one day we explode with anger. We wind up in jail, we wind up in divorce, we wind up crumbling a business, we wind up doing something foolish because we decided to cover up the truth. You see, years ago, I decided to stop lying. And my reason for stop lying was I couldn't keep up with the lies. I couldn't remember the lies. And I was at a point in my life where I had so much stuff going on that it was easier just to face the truth than it was to try to remember all the stories that I had to tell myself and others. And I pissed off a lot of people, ladies and gentlemen. My family doesn't speak to me. A lot of my past friends don't speak to me. A lot of past associates don't speak to me. And when I speak the truth to somebody, oftentimes they'll leave my life because they don't want to hear it. It's inconvenient. But here's what I know. I sleep well at night. About a month ago, a good friend of mine, Jay Kinder, we were comparing each other's Fitbit analytics for our sleep time. And Jay said, man, how the hell do you sleep so good at night? And I said, I got nothing to hide, brother. When I go to sleep at night, I left it all on the field, including the truth. And I don't have anything to hide from anybody. I've never stole from nobody. Matter of fact, today I offered a guy a refund. He told me to keep the money, that he's got the value. And I said, yes, but we never worked together and I don't rip people off. Please allow me to send your money back. That's living in the truth. The regular person would have been tempted to keep that money, and a couple of days later, maybe that guy would have regretted it. He would have put me on the rip-off report, or he would have complained on social media how I kicked him out of a program and kept his money. But I'm going to live with integrity. I'm going to live with the truth, and there is nothing you can do, no lie you can tell, no story you can fabricate that I'm going to fabricate and be an accomplice to that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be accomplice to the truth. About 5 or 6 months ago, at the time I'm recording this, I had two of my clients getting into a huge battle. And one of the clients was bald-faced lying about the situation, but he was a hell of a lot better salesperson and a hell of a lot more likable than the other person. I stood on the side of the truth. I stood on the side of the person that wasn't the better salesperson, but was the integrous person in the relationship, and it cost me over $528,000 in business. Standing by the truth cost me over $500,000 in business, but I stood by the truth. And eventually, every shadow is revealed. Eventually, every trick from the magician is revealed. And eventually, the truth came out, and those people tried to come back with me, and I didn't take them. Why? Because they weren't integrous. But guess what? Now my business is doing what I lost in a month, sometimes in a week. Because why? Because I stood on the side of the truth, and the force of average tested me. It said, listen, I'm going to make the truth painful on you, motherfucker. You're going to have to suffer pain for citing the truth. It's so much easier to lie, Ryan. Why don't you lie? Why don't you take the easy route? Why don't you take the better salesman and the better storyteller side? Because it wasn't the right thing to do. And at the time, it was painful. It was around Christmas time. It was a fucking shitty Christmas for my family. But here we are 4 months later, and the game has completely changed for me. We've up. We've drained the swamp and the flowers have started to grow and blossom and bloom, all because I stayed in integrity and I stood by the truth, even when it was inconvenient. 2 prison sentences I went through. Both times they offered me to snitch on somebody. Who sold you the drugs? But the person that sold me the drugs wasn't the person that got in trouble. I caused that trouble on myself. I had to stand by the truth, and the truth was that I caused this problem, and I had to take responsibility for it. They said, Ryan, who sold you the gun? The truth was I had to say that I obtained the gun, that the gun was mine. The gun actually belonged to a police officer that was a mutual friend, and I just had to, and I covered for him, and I probably could have gotten out of that, but I still stood by the truth that it was my fault that I was in that situation in the first place. You see, the truth will set you free, but it's going to be painful at first. But when the force of average tests your integrity, once you pass that test, you can lay everything else to rest. So remember this week, when you're tempted to take a shortcut, when you're tempted to believe a lie, when you're tempted to lie for others, when you're tempted to lie for yourself, to yourself, or by yourself, remember that integrity always trumps everything, no matter how painful it may be at the moment. There's always a beautiful ending if you'll just stay in the truth, because the truth is the light. By the way, if you like hanging out with a bunch of real motherfuckers, people who are real people, who are integrous, who stand by the truth, who live in the light, then surround yourself with the winning team over at breakfreeacademy.com/entourage. It's an entourage of people like me, you, and the listeners of this show that are working on getting their mind right, working on getting their fitness right, working on getting their family life right, working on getting their finances right, and living in the truth, which is the only way to live. We'll catch you on the next episode.